Okay, everyone, let's try this for the third time. My apologies for this. We are going to, let me get my cameras flopped around here. Okay, my apologies. Some reason my internet is running slow. So we're going to try this again. If for some reason we get cut off again, I will just record this. My apologies. I'll record it and get it to you as quick as possible. So I am going to go ahead and get started on the project. I will shoot you the information that I was trying to show you earlier, but we're going to go ahead and get started since we are running a little bit late, obviously. Let me bring in the comments. So again, my apologies for those of you that have been out there. We are now 15 minutes behind schedule. So let's get started so we can get these cards made. And I want you to see, boy, this thing's moving fast now. All right, so what we're going to do, we are going to create 5 cards using, now today it's designed to be used with one 12 by 12 pattern paper. But today I'm going to show you how to use 4 6 by 6s. I will then re-record the video showing you how to cut the template for the 12 by 12 paper. So this is what the cards will look like when we get done. So I just want to show you, and this thing seems like it's like really fast. Oops, let me get them going the right way. So there's 5 cards that we're going to be able to create using this template. Hi Jan, sorry, I know I've had technical difficulties and I'm trying to get this thing started once again. So we are going to get moving and I'm going to try not to do as much talking. My internet, for whatever reason, is running a little bit slow. So we're going to cut 4 6 by 6 papers to create these 5 cards. Now, the template can be used from a 12 by 12, and I will do a video. I'll go through the cutting process when I start, but then I'll do another video showing you that actually cutting the paper, because I know sometimes it's a little bit, some of us are more visual than others. So these are pocket cards, so we're going to make 2 pocket cards here. These cards are going to flap over. So, and these are, you know, they're just different fun folds. And then this one, we're going to make it out of a piece of basic white. All right, so let's get started. Let me go through what supplies that you will need. And the paper that I'm working with today, we're going to use the 4 sheets of 6 by 6 paper. Oops, sorry. And this is from the Full of Life Designer Series paper. And this is the one that's really colorful. It looks like, you know, we've got all sorts of rainbow colors and designs and all sorts of things. So this can be found in my online store, and the link will be below once the video goes through and I go back and adjust it, because I didn't feel like typing all that stuff in right now since I'm already running behind schedule. All right, and then I'm working with, and you can use whatever you want for the sentiments. I'm using the Countryside Corners and the deckled circle dies, but again, depending on what the size of your sentiment, you use whatever you have in your inventory. All right, and what you're going to need is, you're going to need, in this case, we're going to work with 4, and you want to have them to be the same. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. You want them to be the same design, so we're going to work with 4 of these 6 by 6 papers, and then of course that's what it's going to look like on the back. And it feels like my phone is like, my hands are like in fast motion, so I'm not sure if something button got hit or something. Let me, give me 1 second. I'm going to try to look at if there's something I've missed along the way, when I guess not. But anyways, okay. So, and then the back side, so I'm going to get these all in the same direction, because when I cut these, I want to make sure that I've got them cut the way that I want them to be cut, okay? All right, so you're going to need 2 sheets of cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and you want them to be coordinating colors. So I'm using Granny Apple Green and Berry Burst, and then I'll use the same ink colors as well. All right, now what we are going to do, so if you have a 12 by 12 pattern paper, the first thing you want to do is you're going to make a cut at 5 inches. And you'll cut that down, and then you're going to turn it, and you'll cut 2 at the 6. You'll cut them at 6 inches, so that will give you the 2 6 by 6. So I'm taking my 4 6 by 6s, when you do that with the 12 by 12, you're going to make one cut at 5 inches, turn it, cut them in half at 6, and you'll do that for the second. You'll do a second cut at 5 inches, turn it, and cut those at 6, and that's going to leave you a 2 by 12 piece left over, and you're going to cut that into 1 inch pieces, and then I'll go through the rest of that as I go through this. All right, so we're working with these 4 designs here. So these are my 6 by 6. So I'm going to take these and I'm going to cut an inch off because I want to make these at 5 inches. All right, so we're going to line this up at the 5 inch mark, and I'm cutting 2 at a time. So we're going to come through here and keep these pieces that we cut off because we're going to use those for that other card. All right, now I'm going to turn this and we're going to score at 2 1/4. So we've got one here that's going to be 2 and let me make sure. Yeah, 2 1/4, sorry. All right, so we're going to score this at 2 1/4. All right, we're going to set this off to the side for just a second. Then we're going to take the other one that I cut, right? We cut it at 5, and now we're turning it at 6. So this one, we're going to flip the paper over, and we're going to score at 2 1/4. All right, so we're going to score this one, and you'll see why I'm doing this because it's going to make our cards look. Same thing on the next 2. So these are both 6 by 6. So we're going to bring it down to 5 inches. We're going to cut that, and then we're going to turn, and we're going to score at 2 1/4. So let's do that. All right. And then our last 6 by 6, again, we're going to cut it down to 5 inches. Put that off to the side. Bring this over to 2 1/4, and we're going to score that. Oops, but we got to flip it over because we want to have our colors to be a little, we want 2 different looking cards. Okay, so we're going to score that at 2 1/4. Okie doke. All right, so that's all we need for now. And then when we get to the next part, we're going to take these 4 pieces here that are left over from the cutting, and these are going to be cut down to, let's see, what are we cutting them down to? 5 inches. Let me, hold on a second. Let me see. I'm reading my piece of paper. Yeah. So we're going to cut these down to 1 inch by 5. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and cut that. And then we're going to cut the rest of these. And these are all the same. I should have cut them, I should have cut them down differently. But anyways, all right, so we're going to cut these down to 5 inches. So I'm going to put the other 2 together, and we'll cut those. And then this is what we're going to use to make our last card. So we're going to line this up at 5, and we'll cut just an inch off of those, all right? So these we're just going to set aside until we get ready with the other, to make the cards. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is we got to take our 2 colors of cardstock. So you want 1 of each, and you want to do something coordinating. So I'm using Granny Apple Green and Berry Burst. Okay, so when we cut our paper, our cardstock, we want to cut our first cardstock at 5 1/2. So we're gonna, and you don't want to score it yet. So turn it in the landscape and cut at 5 1/2. All right, and then we're going to take that and we're going to rotate this, and we're going to cut this at 4 1/4. All right, so now we've got 2 pieces at 4 1/4. So we're going to set those off to the side. We're going to bring in our other piece that's 5 1/2, correct? So we're going to take this one, and we're going to take and cut cut it down to 5 1/8. So we are at 5 1/2. So we want to bring it down to 5 1/8. So we're going to cut 1 small strip off of cardstock, and then we're going to rotate this, and we are going to cut this at 3 7/8. All right, so we want to get 3 7/8. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing with this one, 3 7/8, which is 1 mark less than the 4, and then we have another little scrap. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing to the other cardstock. So again, we're going to lay it in here at 5 1/2. We're going to cut that in half, turn it, and cut this at 4 1/4. So what this is doing is it's giving us 2 card bases in each color. So we'll have 2 cards with bases at green and 2 with the Berry Burst. All right, now we bring this one in again. We're going to cut this down to 5 1/8. Let me get to my 5 and our 1/8 right there. And we're going to cut that off. All right, and then we will turn this and we're going to cut these at the 3 7/8. So again, we're going to have, this is going to be this one of the layers to our card. All right, and we're going to get this down to 3 7/8, which is right there. All right, and put that off to the side. Okay, so that's all the cutting, and then you also were going to have a piece of basic white, which is going to be 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and then this is going to be scored. I didn't score this one. This would be scored at 4 1/4, and this is going to be our 5th card, and we're going to use those scraps that we cut off, the 1 inch by 5s, and we're going to use those to create this card. Okay. Now, let's get started with what we need to do. So I have 2 Berry Burst of the card base, and then I also have 2 of the Granny Apple, right? So we're going to put those together in a pile. And then we've got our 2 3 7/8 in both colors as well. So we'll put those there. All right, so, and I might be going a little bit fast, but I know that we were a little bit late getting started. Okay, so now, so when you get done cutting, you'll have 4 card bases at 5 1/2 by 4 1/4, and then you'll have 4 at 3 7/8 by, what did I say, 5 1/8. All right, so we'll have enough to make 4 cards, and then our basic white. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our pieces that we have cut and scored. All right, so this one we scored. So I'm going to fold this one over. So we have the pretty dots showing through. And if y'all are out there, I don't see any comments. I think I've loaded those in there. Oh, there we go. Hey, Gina, sorry. All right, so now we've got 1 card base here. Then the next one, we scored the opposite way. So remember, we're going to fold it the opposite way. So now that's going to give us a 2nd card. So now we'll have each of these we'll have 2 of each, right? And we're going to design these in different ways, okay? And then this one's going to be folded. So we'll have 2 with the dots on the front, and then 2 with the, oh, I'm sorry, I got to pull, yeah, 2 with the, this one goes this way. Sorry about that. Nope, it goes this way. All right, so we have 2 of the dots and then 2 of the other side. All right, you with me so far? Okay. All right, so now we're going to take these. Now what I did was, well, I'll show you that in just a minute. So now we're just going to start building our cards. So I'm going to pull in 1 each of the card bases. So let's start with this one. Now I want to see, let's see. So we've got our Berry Burst. This is going to be a base, but this is going to be our mat. So I want to see, this looks better. Now this one, when you cut the 3 7/8 by 5, you're going to have about a 1/16 of an inch. It's not very much, but it's enough that you can see the color. So I think I'm going to go with this on this one because of the green. Excuse me. Pardon me. So we're going to go ahead and adhere this. So let's get our liquid glue out. And we just want to lay this right down. All right, so we'll go ahead and get this done. And we're going to lay that right here. And again, this is going to give you just a very small border. And since I put it on the Granny Apple green, then I'm going to move that over to a piece of Berry Burst as my card base. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and adhere that. So we're just going to switch up the colors based on what we've used as our mat. So this is a quick way that you can make 5 cards and decorate them, and they're going to look all different. All right, so there's one. So we're going to leave that like that. This is going to stay open, and then we'll get back to that in just a moment. Now let's pull in one of the dots here. So on this one, let's go ahead and put this one on this card. So we're using the Berry Burst as the small mat. So let's add that. And then we'll use the Granny Apple Green as our base. Okay? So this is a great way to use up your 12 by 12 paper or your 6 by 6. And we're just going to place that on there. All right, I got a little bit of glue hanging out there, so we'll just wipe that off. All right, so there's our second card, and again, that's how it's going to open. All right, and then we're going to bring the other two in. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We are going to oh, you know what? That would be helpful if I put this on a card base, wouldn't it? It's wondering why I had so many. Where's my card base? Hang on a second. This is it. There's the Granny Apple Green. I kept looking at that thing going, why does that card look so small? All right, so see how the colors are coordinating? All right, so we're going to add this. To the back, or to the front of this piece of 4.5 by 5.5 Granny Apple. All right, so there's our second one. It's going to flap open, and then we'll decorate those accordingly. All right. I know the bright colors, aren't they? They're gorgeous. All right, so we're going to do the same thing. Now this one, let's see, how do we want to do this? We've got a green. So let's do, we did a green. Let's do this one. I think I'll do this one on the Berry Burst, and then this one we'll do on the Granny Apple, and then we'll switch those around. All right, so let's go ahead and add these to the mat. All right, and we'll add this one on to the Berry Burst. And then we will mount this on the Granny Apple. All right, and then we'll put that on here. Now this one, let me get this on here. We're going to go ahead and adhere this to the base of Granny Apple. All right. And now what we're going to do with this flap is we're going to glue this. Let me get this on here first. All right. Now this one, we're going to make this a pocket card. So all we want to do is put a small strip of glue right on the edge, and you don't want to go in very far because we want our paper to go in here. And then we're going to put a little strip right there, and that's all we need to do for that. All right, and then we're going to close that up. And then I forgot to tell you, oh, you know what? I forgot to cut. Hang on a second. Where's my white? I didn't cut the pieces that I need for the white. Give me 1 second. Let me grab a piece of white. I forgot to tell you about those. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Hang on. I'll get my paper out of there. Actually, I got 2 pieces right here. Let me stop while I'm doing, well, let me go ahead and finish the card, and then I'll cut the whites for you. All right, so this one is gone on our base of green, Granny Apple. And then this one, we're going to put it on the mat of Granny Apple. And then I'll come back and show you the sizes of the white pieces, which I forgot to cut for you. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Okay. All right, so we're going to mount this on the 3 7/8 by 5. And again, it's giving us just a little bit, like a 1/16 of an inch. Not much. And then this will go on our Berry Burst. Okay. Whoops. I don't know why I just did that. That wasn't smart. I'm trying to rush. I need to slow down. I hate when things don't go according to plan, right? Let me just stick that on there so I can get it off. Probably just made it worse. Okay. We'll get that on there. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? Let me see if I can get that. I'm going to flip it, and then I will clean that off with my glue eraser. All right, so that's going to go there. And we're going to do the same thing on this one, because we're going to make this a close as well. So glue, and just put a little dot right there. And we'll close that up as well. So it's only going to close on the side. Okay, now we need to cut, which I forgot to tell you that. Let me lay that there so it can dry. We need to have you need two basic whites at 4.5. Let me get my paper. Hold on a second. You're going to cut 2 pieces of basic white at 4.5 by 3.5. Okay, so let's come in here and we'll cut this at 4.5. All right, and we need 4.5 by 3.5. So we'll come down here to 3.5, and we're going to cut 2 of those. Is that right? Is that 4.5? That's 4.25. I screwed that one up, didn't I? Let's try this again. This is 4 and, all right, let's cut this down. Let's do it 3.5. Sorry about that. 3.5 here. Let's start all over. Cut 3.5. All right, now we're going to cut it at 4.5. All right, so there's one, and then 4.5 here is the second one. Okay, and then these are the pieces that we're going to use for the inserts of our card. Let me move that out of the way. All right, I think that's all the cutting we need to do. Now, I did cut different pieces for the sentiments to use, and so you just use whatever. I use the deckled circles and the countryside corners, but depending again on your sentiment, you want to use whatever is going to fit your sentiments, okay? And then we have a piece of our basic white that we'll use for the last part of the cards with those strips. Okie doke. So with that being said, now we can go ahead and start decorating our our cards, okay? So the first one, all right, we have a pocket card here. Excuse me, my nose is itching. All right, let's move this out of the way. And let's take a look at, hang on, let me move some stuff out of my way. I need to see what I'm doing here. All right, we're going to use, I've got the Berry Burst ink and the Granny Apple, so we're going to go use those inks. All right, so let's go with the first corner card here, pocket card, and I am going to, all you'll do is slide this in here, and it's going to slide right on in, and that's why you got to be careful with the adhesive, because now this might be off just a little bit. Let's see if we can get it in there. There, it's just a little tight, so you just kind of have to, and we can trim it down because it might be the adhesive, so let's just do that to make it a little bit easier. Let's just trim a little, we're just going to trim like 1/8 of an inch off, and it's just going to be dependent on how your paper cutter is. There we go, so we'll get that in there. Well, if it wants to cooperate, right? Get on it. There we go. There we go. All right, so we'll have that in there for our sentiment. Now we're going to decorate this. So what I'm going to do, I've got a strip here of paper, and I'm going to make this a thank you card. So I'm going to take my trimmer, and I'm going to cut this down to 1/2 inch. And again, this is going to be dependent on what you're using for your sentiments, okay? So this is going to be our 1/2 inch. Put that off to the side. We might use that for something else. Good morning, Viola. Welcome. All right, so I've got a 1/2 inch piece of basic white, and I'm going to make this a thank you. And I am using the sentiments from the throughout the year. This is a stamp set through our online exclusives. So it's got a little bit of everything. You can see the sentiments. We're going to use thank you. We're going to do the best of luck, happiest birthdays, and you mean so much to me. So those are the 4 sentiments that we're going to be working with. All right, and again, for those that are just joining, this will be on replay, and then I will also do a separate video showing you how to do this using your 12 by 12 paper. All right, so we're going to stamp our sentiment, and I think on this one, let's see which is going to look better. Let's do Berry Burst. Let's try that and see. If we don't like it, we'll flip it over. All right, so this is going to be our thank you card. So let's do that. So we're just going to do, let me move this out of the way. Sorry, everything is sliding around. All right, so we're going to stamp, and I'm going to leave a little bit of room here because I'm going to add a bow to this. So let's, and then I'll just trim it down. So let's just stamp that right about there. That's a little high, so let's flip it over. I'm sitting down, I probably need to stand up. Let's re-ink that one more time. And let's go ahead and stamp that right about there. All right, much better. Okay. And get my cleaner out. Hang on a second, I'm moving stuff off my desk. I'm a little cramped in the room on the space here. All right, so let's close that. Now I'm pulling in some twine. Now this ribbon is retired, but I like it because it's easy to loop together. So we're gonna do a little loop-de-doopy. I'm gonna glue it to the front, and then we'll tie some little bit of ribbon around that. So let me go ahead and cut this down because we don't want it so big. All right, so and I'm gonna grab my adhesive, my seal, and let's put, whoopsie, let's put a little bit of, let's see, do we want this underneath or on top? I'm thinking, we'll put it on top, I guess. Maybe we could put it underneath. Let's do that. Let's put it underneath our sentiment. Now we'll put it on top. Okay, I'm changing my mind as I go. All right, we're gonna cut this down. So let's cut this at an angle here. And then I'm going to trim this down because that's going to be a little bit too much right there. So let's just trim it. All right. And then take your bone folder, and we're just going to give it a little bit of a crease just to kind of give it that wave look. So I am going to put a dimensional right in the center to help keep that popped up. And then I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive, my Tombow, on each end. So we're just going to put a little bit right here, and then we'll put a little bit right there. All right, so let's get this laid down. Whoops. We'll take the backing off of our dimensional, and let's put that right on here. Okay. All right, and that's going to hold that up just a little bit. Now let's take this piece, and we may trim this down because this is a little bit long. Let's get this, and this is really fine, so let's trim that down. And I'm going to get my paper, my scissors in here and cut that. And let's see. So we're going to do that. I'm going to tie some, I'm going to glue this down. So give me a second. I'm going to put some adhesive right. I'm going to use some of my seal right on here just to hold that down. So then I can tie a little bit of ribbon twine right around it. So we're just going to kind of make it like that. All right. And then we'll take some of this twine. And this came in one of the packages that had the, let's see, one of the two other colors. What were they? Has the lemon lolly and the petal, I think the pretty in pink, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just going to tie a little bit of this around this, and this is just your decorating part. So let's just tie this and make a little bit of a bow. Give me 1 second while I do this. It's always like you're all thumbs, right? And then we'll go back and do another card, give you ideas of how you can decorate them. All right, and then we'll tie this in a bow. Bear with me. It's you know, when you're dealing with the small, tiny stuff, right? And then having fingernails on top of that doesn't help matters. All right, we'll adjust this. Once we get it tied, I'm trying not to get it too big because I need to make it smaller. All right, so we're going to pull that through and tie that. Okay, now we can adjust our bow. Okie doke. All right, so there's that. Now we're just going to place, and I'm going to tighten up the bow a little bit because I think it's a little too big for the card. All right, so let's do that. And then we're going to just put a little bit of adhesive right there on here. And we're going to glue this right down on that area. And I'll trim up the tails to the twine, whatever we call it, twine. There we go. All right, so there's one of the cards. Isn't that cute? And again, you can, you know, decorate this however you want to decorate it. Let me get it in the camera. Sorry about that. Okay. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Let's do one of the folds that go the opposite direction. And let's see. Let's do the one. Let's see, this one, let's do this one. And let's move this one off to the side for just a second. Move these off to the side so I can have room to work. We'll put that one up there. All right, so this one we're gonna make a birthday card. So on this one, I cut 2 of the decal dies, and they were, I wanna say they were, let me see what size did I use. Let's see, the 3rd and 4th, I'm sorry, this is the 5th size, so I used 2 of these because what we'll do is we're going to place one here on the front, and then we're going to put one underneath that you'll have room to write your message. All right, so let's go ahead and stamp our birthday wish. Let me find my stamp, and that's going to be happy birthday. And this one, let's do this one. Now we got a card base of, let's see what the green looks like. Well, this is, we just did that one. Let's see what the granny apple green looks like. And if we don't like it, we'll flip it over. So we're going to stamp that right there. Okay. And then we are going to take this, and we'll decorate this once we get it on here. So what we want to do is add adhesive on this side, and we're going to place it right about there. And we want to have it centered. So I know I can, you know, I can do adhesive from this part, right? So we want this side right here. So let's get our liquid glue. We'll put that on there. And then we're going to place that right about there and let that sit for just a minute. Make sure it's straight. All right, so we've got it like that. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place this right over this one. And this is an easy way to get it so that it is adhered to the center of this right here, so that way it doesn't show. So we're going to put some adhesive on the back of this right here, because what we'll do, get some cut right there. Now we're just going to fold this over and close it and let that sit for just a minute, and then we can open it. And now we've got our circle right behind that one, and you don't see it until you open it, and that gives you the opportunity to write your message. Now, if you want to do a bigger message, then obviously you can put a bigger piece of paper. All right, so we're going to decorate this, and we're going to use some of that. Let's just stick. Let's do some of this. This is retired. Some of this twine that I'm using is retired. So you always seem to have a lot of that, right? All right, so we're going to use this green and white stripe. I thought that would go with all these colors. So let's just tie a bow with that, and we're going to attach that towards the bottom. All right, so let's get that and pull that in so we can make it a little bit smaller. And we'll tighten that up. Oops. Well, I tightened it up all right. Let me start all over here. I pulled the paper, I pulled the, let's try that again. There we go. All right. If your twine is curly, use your fingernail or something to pull it to try to straighten it so it's not so curly. That makes it a lot easier when it goes to tying. so let's get that tied in here again. I'm pulling the string in to make my bow a little smaller, and then I can start making them bigger as I need it. Okay, do that. Okay, so now we've got our bow, and we're going to attach that right here using a glue dot. So let's get one of those out, and we'll peel that off. And I'm just going to roll it up and put it right down here in the center of the bottom part of the card. And let's get our bow a little bit, looks a little bit better. So we're going to try to force him to look pretty. All right, so we're going to put that right there. All right, so we got our bow there, and then we're going to come back with some embellishments. And let's just add a few of these. These are the polished dots. They're probably retired as well, but that's okay. Got to use them up. All right, so we're going to place one of these on here. Actually, you know, I've got some other colored ones that we could be using. So let me find those. I don't know if the colors, I don't think the colors are going to work. So let's just put one of those, and we'll put a, we'll put another one. Let's put one here, and then we'll just do a small one right down here by underneath the bow. All right, so there's that card. All right, so you open like that. So that's the second card. All right, and let's move on to the next one. Let's do, let's see, let's do this one here. Now this one, now you can take these, depending on your sentiment. Let me get the other one out and show you. Depending on the sentiment, you can have it go this way. Oh, am I froze up? Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Internet's acting wonky. If you don't have a sentiment to go this way, then you can turn your card and you can have it, your sentiment go this way and then open it like that. All right, so we're going to use the same sentiment, so I'm going to make it, and that what I've done is I've cut out a piece of vellum, and this is using the Countryside Corners, and this is the, let's see, what size is this one? The largest, the next to the largest die, and then the two down from that. All right, so we're going to use these three pieces. This is a piece of Granny Apple, and then again, Whisper Basic White for our sentiment. So let's bring in our stamp. And I think since this is Granny Apple, we've got Granny Apple there, I think I'm going to use the Granny Apple ink on this one. So that way we kind of keep it all in the family. All right, so let's ink this up. And we'll bring that in here, and we're going to stamp right on this die. Okay. And then we're just going to adhere these to each of the layers. Let's close this up so we're not wearing our ink. All right, so we're just going to add these and layer them up. Now, what we want to do is we want to make sure when we get to the vellum, I'm going to show you what we need to do. So go ahead and add your adhesive to the back of the white and attach it to your green. Put that there. And paper keeps sliding around. All right, so let's put that right about there. All right, now since we're going to do this, we're going to place this on the vellum. Now, we don't want our vellum, because we're going to attach it and we want to have this centered, right? So we want to get that there. So we know that our vellum will have to, we can attach that here, and we can do that first. So let's get this placed. I'm going to put this here, and then what we'll do is we'll add the adhesive underneath the Granny Apple so you won't see it. It doesn't shine, go through. So we're going to go ahead and only add, because we don't want the adhesive, let's do it this way. Let's go ahead and glue the adhesive that down because we want only the adhesive on the left side, right? So let us put, I'm going to put on this side right here a little bit of adhesive, and I'm only going to come about right like that because I don't want it to go through. So let's put this on here. And when we attach this to the card, then we'll have it where we don't see any of that adhesive. So that's going to go here, right? We want to get it centered, so when we open it, we only want to have our adhesive on this side behind the flap. All right, so I know my die is going to go about like that to keep it centered in the card. So I can go up to about right on this side of the corner and add adhesive. All right, so let's do that. And we'll put that right here. We're just going to stay alongside the Granny Apple Green where we did it before, okay? And we'll bring that over, and we're going to place that down and make sure that it's centered. All right. And then I forgot to cut, but we need to have another piece of the, which I wasn't thinking on that. So just cut another piece of the white using the country corners and just place it right under here because you won't see it. Then that way that gives you room, or you can put a longer piece as long as it's behind this flap. You're not going to see it from here over. All right, so that's how we're going to do that card. Now let's do a little decorating on this one. Let's see if we can pull in some of these other colors that I have. Let's see if these might, this might work. Let's use some of these. These are the In Color Shimmer Dots. So let's place a few of these because I think these colors might look pretty. We're not going to do the green, but we will do this darker color. So that kind of goes with our Berry Burst. And let's do another one of those. I'll put one over here. And then let's put another one over. Let's see. Yeah, let's do that way. We'll put one right here. All right, so there's that. So that decorates that card. And again, just cut a second with basic white and adhere that to the inside of the card for your sentiments. All right, moving on. So we've gotten, let's see, we've done 3 cards so far. So that we're moving right along, aren't we? So we got 2 more to go. All right, so this is our other pocket card. So we need to, hold on a second, I've got something attaching itself to this. Pull that off. It was laying on something. I'm not sure what that was. It looks like a piece of paper that has decided to attach itself. Oh, it's got adhesive on it, that's why. Okay. All right. So now we have our other pocket card. So we'll put our other piece in here, and we're going to slide that in there. Again, I'm going to have to trim this down just a tad. Hold on just a second. Let me get my paper thinner. I probably made my strip of glue that I'd adhered the inside a little bit too thick. So if you have some of those small plastic containers that have the little needle tip to it that allows you to put the stuff out, then that's probably what you would need to do. It squeezes it out much easier. All right, so let's get that in here. I can tell you that's what's happened is the glue. I probably got the glue on the side. Let's get in there. There we go. All right, so the card's in there for your message. And again, if it's a little too tight, then just trim it down. That's not going to be a problem. All right, so there's our white. And then we are going to, let's see, let me get my papers again so I can see how we want to decorate this one. And let's see. The other one we did, let's see how what did we do the other one? All right, so we did the other one this way. So we could turn it this way. So let's turn it. Well, that's not going to make sense because we got to pull the thing out. All right, so we're going to pull in 2 of our deckled dies. So we've got the one size and then a smaller size, and this is what we're going to stamp our sentiment on. And let's see. No, actually, let's see. Is this the bigger one? Yeah, that's the bigger one. Okay, so we're going to stamp the sentiment on this, the small one. So let's get the best of luck. I think that will fit, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. All right, so let's do our Berry Burst, since our card base is Berry Burst. Let's stamp that on the smaller deckled circle. All right, close that up. And give me 1 second. I don't know why this thing, my camera looks like it's just going all over the place. Going pretty, like it's in fast mode or something. I'm not sure what it's doing. Okay, so now on this one, we're going to lay this piece down. And we're going to adhere that, and then we're going to attach, we're going to do some ribbon and then some of that twine. And then we're going to glue the best of lucks on top of that. So we're going to put this up just about halfway. So we don't want to add any glue from here up. We just want to put adhesive on the back side about halfway. All right, and then... Oh, hey, Karen, sorry about that. I was having issues, and it's still running a little slow, so I'm not sure what's going on. But you'll have to watch the replay on this one. Okay, so we're going to add adhesive to about 1/3 of that circle and just place it on the front right about there. And then we're going to come in with that retired ribbon again that I used. And we're going to fold that over into a ribbon like that. And I'm going to use some of the seal. So we're just going to do some seal to hold that in place. So we're going to lay that there. Make sure we get it, whoops, get it where we want it to go. Put that up like that. And then we're going to bring in some of that blue twine again. And I'm just going to make a large bow and hopefully get it where it will show. All right, so we'll do that. And again, some of the stuff that I'm using has been retired. This came in a pack. I think this might still be available. And you can check that out in my online store. So this one, I'm going to make the bow because I want it to stand out from the, when I put the other circle on top. So let's make this a lot bigger. Let me pull this side out. And this one's a little too big. Let's pull him in some. And let's see what that's going to look like. Hold on a minute. So we pull that, and we want that, because I want that to be seen. Hold on a second. And if we place that like that, I think that will look fine. We probably could have brought this ribbon up a little bit. Let's do that. There we go. All right, let's put some glued dimensionals on the back of this. I'm just going to put 2, and I'm going to put them at the top, kind of at an angle, and then at the bottom at an angle, so it doesn't flatten our bow. Okay, so we'll take those off. And we're going to set that right about, and we want to get it in the center. Let's make sure we got our tails hanging down. Let me pull this down a little bit. All right, so we want to put that right about there. We've got our bows. There we go. So we're going to pop that down. And you can put 3 dimensionals on there. I just put 2. All right, so that is that, and we're going to add some, let's add some more embellishments to this one as well. And I kind of like these colors, so let's try a little green. See what the green looks like. We'll add, and let's do a light pink. And we'll do let's do another, see, what do we want to do? Let's put a little green over here. Let's put it right there. All right, so there's our best of luck. Actually, I think we need a dimensional right here. So let me pop one down because this is looking a little flappy there. So hold on one second. Let's pop that in there. I think that'll make it, yeah, that'll look much better. There we go. All right, so there's that card. All right, and so as you can see, we put the, and you can make your your loop here, make that a little bit bigger if you like the ribbon, if you want to have more poking out. And then again, this is your card that you'll write your sentiment on and message, and then push that right back down inside the card. Okay, now we've got one more to do, and that is using our basic white. So let's pull that piece in, and then the pieces that we cut off that were the 1 inch by 5, we are going to cut those down. I mean, we're going to use those to make this card. So let's pull these pieces in. All right, so we're going to fold our basic white over. Make sure it's lined up. Use your bone folder. Okay. So we have these pieces here. They're 1 inch by 5. And we're going to place 3 of them on here. One of them we're going to flip over so we have a different color. And I'm just going to lay them here to start so I can determine where I need to start gluing to make sure that we've got some even spaces between them. And they're lined up together. All right, I think that looks good. Now I always start from left to right. Some people put the center one in first. It's whatever makes you happy. You do what you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this one. All right. So this is a good way to use up all of the paper that we cut. So I'm going to place this right about here. And then using the liquid glue, it does give us a few seconds to move it if we need to. Now keep in mind when you're using these designs like this, the dots can be a little misleading as far as making it straight, so just keep an eye on that as well. All right, so we're going to go ahead and glue this one down. All right, and then that one we're going to put right there. Try to get them spaced apart from each other, and I want to make sure that's straight because that one's a little misleading too with the color. And then we'll add our third strip. All right, we'll put this one on here. Okay, and I think that's pretty good. All right, so there's that. Now the next thing, we're going to do our sentiment in just a minute. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to take a strip of, let me see what we've got. Yeah, just a little. I'm going to glue this so I have a little bit of base, and we're going to add this to the inside of the card, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. Let me go ahead and cut this off, and then we're going to add this right here. So let's just take and put a little piece, a small strip of adhesive. Try to keep it up to the top. And this is just one of the strips off, so I'm going to, let me flip this around. We're going to lay that on here just so we have a small amount showing. And we're going to try to get that so it looks even. All right, and I'm not worried about this part being not so straight because we're going to chop that off. We're going to add this to the inside of this card, and then we're going to take our pieces. Thank you. All right, then we're going to take and we're going to adhere this right here, and we're going to cut that off. So let's go ahead and add a little bit of adhesive on this, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm just going to add some adhesive to right here and a little bit down here. And then we're going to use those a couple little scraps that I had left over. We're going to turn those into a little banner. So let's put that right about at the top of the card. Let me make sure I've got it where I can close it. Yep. All right, so let's pull that down. And we'll leave that. All right, we're going to cut this piece off right here. I'm going to slide this down. That's one thing good about this liquid glue. It does give us time to move our paper. All right, so let's cut this end off. All right, now what we're going to do is I didn't put any adhesive right here because we're going to make a little banner. Now I know these are small pieces, but we're going to make a banner. So let's take it this way, and we're just going to cut up. I don't know, I think that'll be fine. So let's just cut up a little bit from the bottom and go corner to the center to make the tails. All right. So we're going to tuck that and put a little bit of glue underneath. So I'm going to put just a little bit right here. Not much, just a dab. All right. And we're going to slide that underneath the paper. Let me get my snips to pull it up for me. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm going to slide that right under there. And we're going to push that down. Now, I didn't put any adhesive here because we're going to make another one. But we're going to take one of these other little squares that was left over, and we're going to trim him down. So I'm going to cut just a small, just eyeball, whatever you think. I'm going to cut a little bit more off because it's a little bit big for that. Let's try this again. Okay, I think that'll work. All right, so we're going to take this piece and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a little banner out of this one, and we're just going to place them on top of each other just to give it some another fun look. So we're going to have it going like that. So we'll put some adhesive on the top of this. And we'll slide that right under there and place that down, and then that should hold the this one. And let's put some adhesive here at the underneath so that they'll both hold down to the card front. Let's put a little bit of adhesive there. There we go. Whoopsie. All right, so we've got that. Let me move all this mess out of the way. And then we need to decorate the front one. All right, so on this one we're gonna do let's see, what sentiment do we want to do on this one? Where is my other card? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there it is. We'll probably just do another best of luck. How's that? Or let's see, yeah, let's just do best of luck. All right, so we're using the same deckled, one size smaller than the first one. Let me fold this, give this a good burnish. So when you attach that piece to the inside, make sure you leave enough room so this will fold and it doesn't give you any trouble. All right, so in this case, I think we'll do the, we'll stamp with the Berry Burst. We're going to stamp that on the smaller circle again. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll stamp that right about there. I think that looks fine. All right, and then what we'll do is we're going to add, all right, so we're going to, I've got glue on my paper, sorry. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to place this down. Now we can put it wherever you want to put it. The first one I did was to the right. Let's put this one over to the left a little bit. So let's add adhesive. And let's place this one up a little bit to the left side of the card. We're going to do it to the left. Or you can make it centered, whichever works for you. All right, then we're going to come back with our blue twine, and we're going to make a big bow that we're going to place underneath. And then place our sentiment on top with some dimensionals. So we're going to make a large bow with the twine, within reason, obviously. All right, so that's a little much. Actually, let's don't make a bow. Do we want to make a bow? No, let's don't make a bow. Let's do a, hang on, we're going to do something different. Let's just do a squiggle. We're going to have, let's put some adhesive here, which will help hold it down. Well, you can make a bow if you want, but let's just do some squiggles. So we're going to place this right about here, and then we're going to have a loop. So we'll loop it out here, and we've got the adhesive there holding it down, and then we'll do another loop. Let me make this a little bit tighter, and we'll make a loop like that. And you can make however many loops that you want. Let's move this over just a tad, and I want this loop here a little closer to that one, and then move this one over. So we want to have enough that they can be seen. And we'll put this one next to that. All right, and then we'll snip off any excess that we have. Whoops. Hang on, let's get this set right down there. We got to make sure our loop is showing. And we'll use our ribbon scissors. All right, and then we're going to take dimensionals and place this on our sentiment, and we'll pop that down, and we'll put 3 dimensionals on this one. All right, and that should, and if you don't like the way your loop is, you just tighten it up if you want it to be a little tighter looking. All right, and then take these off. All right, and we're going to place that right about there. There we go. All right, so there's that. And then the last thing we'll do is add some more embellishments. And I like these, so let's put one of these pinks on here, which kind of blend with that color. And then we'll put a smaller one down here. And then let's put one of these green. Let's put him right up in here. Okay. So let's bring in, those are the 5 cards. So let's bring in our cards again and let's see what we've created. All right, so this is the one using the strips. And then here we have our pocket card. We have our second pocket card. And then we have our other 2 that flap open. I'll try to get them in the screen here. This one opens up with happy birthday. And then this one is you mean so much to me, and that one opens up like that as well. And you'll put another white on the inside of this one. So there are the 5 cards from your 4 6x6 pieces of patterned paper. And I will do a quick video just showing you how to cut the 12x12. And I might just go ahead and make the cards wide as well. And I'll get that posted in the next several days. All right, everyone, thank you again. My apologies for the internet and cutting off 3 times and have to restart. I really appreciate you taking your time out of Friday afternoon to watch. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome, and make sure that you subscribe and click the bell so you're notified each time I upload a video. And what else? Have a great weekend. Tomorrow I will be back at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time to do our creation anticipation sketch, and I will show you that for those that just joined. We're going to be using this sketch tomorrow, and you want to cut your pieces at 1 by 3 inches, and you can either use a 2 1/4 circle punch or your Spotlight on Nature Dies, whichever you prefer for the circle. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So until then, have a great evening, and I will see you tomorrow at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, Karen. Thanks, everyone. Bye now.